morning. It's Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023. My name is Terry Morgan. We are here to practice fundamentals for Wudang sword. Have a couple of things I'm going to talk about. First, I'm still trying to get back to that 7 o'clock mark. Okay, I'm working on it. The second thing I'm going to talk about is what I'm going to do next, and I pretty much have decided that I'm going to teach Dragon Sword next. So, it probably not next week, but the week after. So we'll start. What is that? It's going to be the first week of March-ish, something like that. I'll work on the dates, okay? And it's going to go slow, okay? Because there are some things that I'm not quite ready to do that I want to be able to do. And what I'm going to do what am I going to do with that? I'm going to incorporate that training into the class as I'm working through. So I'm going to show a couple movements this morning. I've been doing that all week. Comparison with Yang Tai Chi, with the Wudang Tai Chi sword compared with Dragon sword. And what I want to emphasize is that as I'm going through, I'm going to try and do something that I've done with, was this error message over here that I was watching. I'm going to try and do something that I've done with a couple other things, and that is break down what I'm doing. So there'll be a class that covers these movements, and there'll be another class that covers these other movements. And as I'm going through that, each time there's a problem, each time there's an issue, each time there's something that should be there, but I'm not quite ready to show it, I'm going to talk about what that is. I'm going to talk about the exercises behind that can go behind to develop that skill, right? And I'm going to show it. I'm not just going to talk about it. We're going to do it. All right, let me put this down and get started. Basic stretch. Feet about shoulder width apart. Bend the knees. Open the arms. Wiggle the toes. Wiggle the fingers. Hands circle at the front. And back around to both sides. Up along the center line. And reach out. Bend the knees. Keep the shoulders down, reach the arms out, extend through the back. So don't extend by reaching your shoulders up, extend by reaching the back. Reach out again. Fingertips up, elbows drop down, wrists, hands return to your sides. All right, so I've talked about the idea that the sword is an extension. Anything that I have in my hand is an extension of what I'm doing. Right? It doesn't matter if it's a sword, it doesn't matter, doesn't matter what it is. It's something that I have, and I'm going to use it to do something. And one more time, excuse me. What am I going to do? What are the kinds of things, and I talk about this a lot, what are the kinds of things that we would do with a straight sword compared to what we would do with a broadsword? I don't have one, but okay, I don't have a samurai sword either. So, because I don't practice either one, I never did. There is a Tai Chi broadsword form, and I never learned it. Didn't happen. There is a Shingi straight sword form. I learned P-Tron, P from Shingi sword. Would I like to learn the other four elements? Yes, I would. Am I going to have an opportunity to do that? Not sure. So, there's a lot of let me say this a different way. There are so many martial arts, and there are so many forms and so many practice methods that one person learning all of them is never going to happen. We're always going to pick and choose, right? So I learned some from Shaolin. I spent some time with Yang style Tai Chi. I spent some time with dance. I spent a lot of time with Wudang Tai Chi, Wudang Qigong, Xingyi, Bagua from Liu Zhang. Spent a lot of time, and sword, spent a lot of time on that. Did I learn everything that Professor Liu knows? No. Did I learn everything that my dance teacher knows? No. Never happened. I'm going to learn what I can learn. And I need to temper that with not only what can I learn, but what should I learn? Because there are some things that I do need to pay attention to. It's not just, well, whatever I decide, right? There are some things that belong to the tradition. There are some things that belong to the forms that you do have to pay attention to. You can't just pick and choose. But am I going to learn Tang Sudo? No. Traditional Korean martial art. Very good. It's very good art. Am I going to learn it? No. Not going to happen. It was never going to happen. Okay. It wasn't for me. Am I going to spend my time on hard Qigong? Developing my physical body, my physical strength, being able to break bricks, being able to do just some pretty fantastical things, actually. No. I'm not going to do that. There are people who do. There are. And they're excellent at what they do. Not something I'm going to do. What am I going to do? That's the key to ongoing practice. What am I going to do? What do I like? Out of all of the things that I do, what am I going to practice? What am I going to keep? And that is part of what we're doing here. That here's what we keep, right? So for me, I don't have everything my dance teacher has. I don't have everything any of my martial arts teachers have. I have what I have. And that combination, that I have something from here and I have something from there, and I have my own practice that I've kept for 40 years. 40. That practice is what I can teach. And it's different than what my dance teacher could teach. Because she didn't have martial arts. She didn't know about that. And that was fine. That was not what she did. My martial arts teachers did not have dance training. No. Never set foot in a ballet studio. Didn't happen. Does that make them less? No, it doesn't. It's something that's different. I have that. They didn't. That training enabled me to understand certain kinds of things a little bit better. One of them is that physical movement and the force dynamic that we use behind what we're doing. So that simple slice across, if I do this slowly, I barely disturb the air in the room, right? There's nothing I'm going to take that back. There is a small physical force behind this, but it's limited to what we're doing, what we can do in a slow, very controlled motion. Now, if I speed that up, I have to pay attention to something else. What is different What's different? This is the first one. That's the second one. Seriously. That's it. That's the difference. And yeah, I do want to stop it here. All right. As I'm paying attention to the end of the blade, that's it. That's the move. All right, I'm going to stop for a second here. Connecting that move through the whole body is what we see in form. Okay? That's part of what we want to work for in practice. So yesterday we had slice. Let's do that again. Left hand at the right elbow to the inside, slice across, turn the wrist over. This is at shoulder height, so just slightly below your own shoulders is where the blade should be. Not at your waist, not at your hip, slightly below your own shoulders with the arm fully extended. And yes, you should feel it in your arm. Turn the wrist and keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Stop. All right, this slice, 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 slice. Right? Under. Yang palm, yin palm. Yang palm, yin palm. That foundation, just that simple turn to go back and forth, is one of the things that we use repeatedly in all of our forms. Now, do we always keep the hand here? No. No. The goal of practicing here is to develop the forearm, the upper arm, and the wrist, as well as connecting it through the body. Now, I did not use a low stance. I wasn't trying to work low. I wasn't paying that much attention, other than being grounded. Wasn't paying that much attention to my stance, right? Wasn't trying to pay attention. I was pay attention to shoulder. Now, we could do this exercise on the other side. I'm not going to do that right now, but we could, right? We could. And in a long-term class, we should. Okay? That basic foundation on both sides. I'm going to step over here just in case. I did this yesterday. At basic foundation, on both sides, right? To manage what you're doing. Now I drop the sword, right? Being able to extend through what you have, and with the type of movement that whatever it is can do. And I've talked about this a couple of times. I'm going to talk about it real quick. Short staff, about the same length as a sword. Bow staff, long staff, my head height-ish, right? Neither one of those have a sharp edge. So the kinds of things that I might intend to do with either one are not the same as what I would do with a sword. Okay? Pointy end, sharp edges. I do not have sharp edges on this, right? And the end is really pretty dull, right? I don't stick my hand on there, but it's dull. It's not really pointy. It's, you know, it's got a point on it, but it's not pointy. Alright, so the idea that, and I talked about this the other day, the idea that in the 14th century, 15th century, I would carry a sword, yeah, absolutely. And would it be sharp? Yes, it would. Alright, so that idea, what might I do with this compared to what I would do with a round piece of wood, a staff? It's different. What I can do with a long staff and what I can do with a sword is different. I've got more of a reach with a long staff than I do with a sword. If I extend a long staff fully, I can go all the way over to the wall here. I can't do that with the sword. I have to move. Alright? So that is something that I've got more of a reach. Alright? What else can I do? Well, I can come around here. With a long staff, I'd have my hand back here. I can come around. I can go in. I can. The effect would not be the same, and the idea behind that is a little bit different, but yeah, it could. And would it hurt? Yeah. Yeah, it would. That idea behind, what do I have? What can I do with it? What should I be paying attention to? Okay? So if I hold the blade flat, okay, edges up and down, what can I do with this? You know, I can bat something here. Why would I do that? What's the point? What's the purpose? Right? I might be playing with something, right? Hey, hello, right? But what am I going to do? This I can do, right? Sword is flat, I can extend it forward. The sword is straight up and down, I can extend it forward. And I do both. I should be able to do both. Maybe sometimes a little bit of an angle, but not usually. we're not usually thinking about, let me go at this angle. It's either here or here. Pick one. This one or this one. Alright? That sense of, it matters in the way that the form is done. It matters in the way the weapon is carried. And it matters through the turns as we're moving. So as I turn, right, we did this yesterday. Down, down. What? No, I did this one yesterday. Same side. This side. Still over here. I'm gonna put my finger up. Down here. Down. Turn it over. Come up. Down. Turn over. Same side. Each time I slice down, I'm on this side. Over here. Now I'm on the other side. This side. Right? Where my thumb is. Oh. Which side of the blade am I going to use? Am I going to slice down here? Right? Slice down. Bring it up. Inside. Outside. Inside. Each of these, this is fundamental stuff, right? Which side of the blade do I have? What am I doing here? That sense of what do I have, where is it, and how am I using it is part of the foundation that we need before we can start really anything. If you don't know what you've got, if you don't know where it is, how can you use it? All right. I may have to relocate the cat here. I was looking at this, and I mentioned at the beginning I am going to start teaching Dragon Sword, and I am going to move it out to my other room. I'd like to move it outside, but I can't do that just yet. I need a place to do that, and I need somebody to run the cameras and the equipment if I'm going to be outside. So yeah. Plus it's not quiet, so yeah, that's a problem. But I do have my living room that I can use to teach Dragon Sword, so I'm going to do that as that gets started, and I'm tying that into what we're doing today. All right, so as I start, and I'm going to just show this for a second. This opening, we see this in all but Wudang Tai. I'm here. Slice. Slice. P. P. In. Alright, now I slowed that down way more than I wanted to because I really don't want to hit the light fixture. Alright, this is a little faster. It does go faster. Okay, so by the time I'm here, this slice, except this time it is here at the waist. Yeah. Where's the blade? Which direction? What am I trying to do? Right? That sense of placement, dynamic, this is what I'm talking about, that comes around a little faster if your hip's engaged. It does. That sense of how we connect with what we're doing. So, what are we doing? I'm here. What am I doing? I'm going to turn and come out here. Right? That's it. That's what I'm doing. I'm on my toe. This comes around. Step. Right? No. No, you can't cut my leg. Thank you. Whatever it was, it's not going to be there no more. Right? That's what you're doing. Is the body well placed? Can you extend through the movement to actually do something here? Is this? I'm doing nothing there. I don't know what that was, but it's not this, right? It's pretty. Looks nice. Tai Chi. Could be in Tai Chi. It's not here. Okay? That sense of, again, Lung Hua Jian. The dragon is the sword. The dragon becomes the sword. Dragon, the sword changes into the dragon. Okay? Lung, dragon, becomes Hua, changes, transforms, Jian, dragon transforms into the sword. It's a dragon. That sense of how the dragon moves is something that I've tried to incorporate in my own practice, right? I talk about that with quite a lot with Xingyi and Xingyi's 12 Animals, that the character and the nature of the elements, the character and the nature of the animals all contribute to what we're doing in the movement and how that movement should be done. Okay, so what am I thinking about if I'm thinking about a dragon? A Chinese dragon. Not a Western dragon, Chinese dragon. I have one on my other wall. That long extended, think about Chinese New Year and the lion dance and the dragon dance, that long extended, bringing good things to the community, bringing good things to whoever happens to attend, right? That idea, that long extended, right, goes behind. Now, if I'm practicing Tai Chi sword, I want my movements to be smoother. I don't want that same, I can have it. It's not that it's not there, right? And notice this is right here. That smoother movement, right? I want to not hit the cat. She's decided she's going to be in class with me today. Alright, so for Tai Chi sword, I'm here. Faster. It's still not the same dynamic as what I have in Dragon Sword, but I want to emphasize that both have that idea behind that there's something there, and I'm going to, this one here, I have an intent to stop whatever that is. As I come around, paying attention to where the sword is, what do I need to do, what am I going to do next, right? And how that carries through the form. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Each time I move, right? Each time there is something to pay attention to through the movement. So here, try that again. As I spin around, I'm able to bring more force to that extension. Now, something else to keep in mind, just because I'm here. Notice where my arm is. This is where we're practicing here. No. Yes. This is my extension, not this. Right here. If I want to go further, I need to move. I actually need to go there, right? Because overextending lessens the force that I have, and it puts me in an awkward position. I'm overextended. Here, come on over here. No, I don't want to go there, but you're overextended. Go there, right? That problem of balance, being overextended is you're off balance, lessens the force that you can use, and it puts you in a not so great position. It puts you in a vulnerable position. Why do it? Why offer your opponent an opportunity? Here, go ahead. No, don't do that. Yeah, here. Now I'm going to say this in wushu. That is something that people do. Okay? It has to be done with proper balance. Right? So that back foot has to be ready to kick. It's not there for decoration. Okay? This is two directions. It is. And if the person who is practicing that particular art does it well, cool. We don't do that. The back foot? No. Mm-mm. Not really. And the idea that, I'm going to show this. This is This is fufu. This is nothing. This is shin. Fu's out there. Right? This is no. I don't know what that is. That's something else. That's not. You see the difference? I'm hoping you can see the difference. Right? That sense that there is something there, and that we are using the physical body to balance correctly against whatever it is we're doing. If I'm not solid, same here. Both legs have to be solid when I do this extension, otherwise, So, point being, each of the arts has its own requirements, has its own dynamic, has its own way of using the sword. What we do with a straight sword, what we do with a broadsword, okay, 2 edges, broadsword, 1 edge, right? What we might do with a staff or with a short staff, no edges, stick, right, are all different and in some ways the same, right? I can come across this way with a short staff. I can do this with a long staff. I can do this with a sword. I can do this with a broadsword. I can. Is what I expect different with each? Yeah, it should be. It should be. They're all different. That's part of, and that same idea that what I expect with each different thing that I might have corresponds to what I'm doing with it. So if I'm using Bagua sword, I'm going to do something different than if I'm using Xingyi sword, than if I'm using Taiji sword, than if I'm using, as I've been talking about this morning, dragon sword. The nature of the form gives us part of what we should be doing. The internal workmanship, the external workmanship, how we move, how we create the movement, how we create the dynamic that goes with the movement. We're going to work on that. All right? And again, probably not next week. Next week probably still be some basic stuff, but the week following, I am going to start teaching Dragon Sword. Thank you so much for being here. I will be back tomorrow with Wudang Qigong.